triggering change one heartbeat at a time. Battle for Freedom. Welcome, everyone. I'm your host, Watson Prunier from Battle for Freedom on Mojo 50 Radio. Gonna basically, we're gonna have some fun here as we go into Battle for Freedom on Mojo 50 Radio, and I appreciate every last one of you. As we're gonna talk about Iron Fist economics today, and the reason why I do this is because of the fact that we are in the midst of probably some of the most trying times that you ever can imagine that's going on right now in this country because of the fact that there are sycophants who are in control, and they will do anything that they can to maintain power. We are sitting in probably one of the craziest moments of our life. If you want to interact, go to facebook.com/Battle for Freedom. I see Lep, I see Trisha, I see Heidi. Thank you for being part of the program because of the fact that there's a lot that we're going to cover today. So get your seats in. Have your American Pride Roasters coffee. That's historically great coffee. That's what American Pride Roasters coffee is. If you go to AmericanPrideRoasters.com, enjoy all the different blends that are available to you there. Of course, by bias, my favorite is the Watson's White Chocolate Caramel Blend, of course. But there's a Watson's Sexual Chocolate. There's Brad's Brown Bag. There's a wide variety of different blends available to you if you go to AmericanPrideRoasters.com and let them know Watson from Battle for Freedom sent you. Really appreciate them. Awesome love, awesome product, awesome service, awesome family. Get to know them. You can't go wrong. If you want to also do me a favor, look into New Life Holistic biofeedback therapy that deals with people with you're triggered or whatever it is, whether you have anxiety, whether they're PTSD, all those different chemicals that you've been injecting yourself has done nothing. All those pills you've been popping has done nothing but be a Band-Aid or barely even that, a placebo to the challenges you experience. Why not consider getting yourself retuned with some biofeedback therapy? And then as an added bonus, Anthony Malchiotti is a very spiritual and intelligent, biblically sound, biblically grounded person. He can give you great advice, even on the other side, that it doesn't involve biofeedback therapy. That also he can tell you, even from the health perspective, of living and doing better. Trust me, you can't go wrong in your investing in a relationship with Anthony Malchiotti, because at the end of the day, I assure you, you will be succeeding and doing far better than you ever anticipated. So take a listen to them as well. You want to go to mojo50.com. I'm actually wearing my Mojo 50 shirt right now, so you can't see that because of the way my screen is set up, but maybe a new studio will offer me the ability for you to see exactly what does that look like. So, Iron Fist economics. Where do we even go? You know, many of you will know, many of you probably hate me in my position because you think I'm just a never Trumper. I can't stand Trump, and no, it's not that there's a lot of issues I take with Trump, but the recent events that took place, and thank you, Jamie, for joining, the other half of Ain't You a Peach. Now we have a full deck of cards to work with. Ain't You a Peach, awesome show that you can watch on the weekends with, and if you don't want to wait till the weekends, why don't you catch their previous episodes? Ain't You a Peach. You'll love it. I love it. They love it. You'll all love it. Check them out, and you can't go wrong. But you know that in me, I've expressed my concerns with Trump on many occasions. But for those of you who aren't aware of this, but one of the greatest tragedies took place last night, and that was with respect to Trump being Trump Mar-a-Lago's location being raided by the FBI. And so this is very, very interesting, and this is very disturbing. And the reason why I am mentioning the idea of Iron Fist economics and hammer meets sickle is because of the fact that, you know, many of the things that people like about Trump is his iron fist mentality. He doesn't take any nonsense. And is it possible what we're seeing right now is reaping what we sowed? Now, people say, well, it's his personality, or he's a straight shooter and he's all these other different things. And again, is he reaping what we've sown in the past, in the complete illegality of what's taking place, of his compound being raided. As much as I disagree with Trump on a lot of different things, I am not in any way happy with what's taking place, because this is nothing but the Gestapo mentality of what we see. Actually, you know what? I was going to save that towards the end, but I think I probably need to just do it now and just break this thing down so you can understand exactly where I'm coming from with respect to the Gestapo, and so that there's zero confusion. I'm going to break this down, so I have a definition here. Yeah, let's go to this definition one here, and we'll see exactly what's going on. The Gestapo, as we look at this, the Gestapo was a political police force of the Nazi state. The name Gestapo is an abbreviation. Oh, you know what? Let me just do it full screen so you don't need my face right now. Gestapo is the political police force of the for the Nazi state. The name Gestapo is an abbreviation of its official name, Geheim Staatsopolizei or Polizei, I don't know. Polizei or Polizei. The direct English translation is secret state police. The Gestapo was not the first police force in Germany. In German history, Germany, like many other countries in Europe, had a long history of political policing. Let's bring this down a little bit more so you can see exactly what's happening here. You have the Gestapo overview. And this is from the United States Holocaust, I think it's museum, and their encyclopedias. They're breaking down this. The Gestapo was Nazi Germany's famous political police force. Over the course of the Nazi era, the number of institutions of the Gestapo expanded and changed. The groups targeted by the Gestapo shifted with the regime's policies and priorities. One thing remained consistent: the Gestapo was really reliably brutal, a reliably brutal tool that enforced Nazism's most radical impulses. As you sit here and we watch everything that's taking place, and there is no other way than to describe this because everything that most people have done in referencing or making reference to this administration has been under the idea or the arrogance to basically insinuate that Donald Trump was this tyrant, and he was calling him a Nazi, calling him a Nazi, a white supremacist, or anything like that. But I got it, because he's hitting it right on the nail, exactly with what I was going to say, and he took the words right out of my mouth. But you know what? I'll let you hear a little lep here on one of the things he says that I agree with 100%. And this is exactly how I felt as I'm watching this thing take place. The FBI has been compromised and weaponized by those controlling our current government. And I would dare even say, take it even further, or farther, whatever way we want to use. Sorry, effer. no, scratch. I would dare even go beyond with the idea that this is not just the current administration, but we're going back a few administrations with respect to what's taking place, because never in the history, I don't believe in the history of our nation, has this happened before. I think I was given a video, by Anthony Malchiodi yesterday by, I think it was Gorka, might have been by Gorka, who basically said, never in the history of our nation has anything like this happened before. And it's frightening. Many of you are celebrating right now, and I'm honestly, to tell you the truth, I'm telling you, this is not something to celebrate on. This is not something to celebrate on. This is not good. If many of you are chanting "Orange Man down, Orange Man defeated," if this is what you are celebrating, you don't realize you're empowering, because if they can do it to him, they can do it to anyone. This is you're forgetting the one before Bush. You're forgetting the one before Bush. Bush 43. You got to go back to as far back as to 1992, and I would maybe even say 1988 and beyond. But here it is. We're looking at this thing that's taking place. But I want you to understand that there are the games that are being played right now is exposing everything about our nation. Is that the games that we play, the manipulations that we play, is very unfortunate. And what I'm about to share with you next, many of you are going to say, well, they're doing it on the other side too. Two rights don't make a wrong. Two rights do not make a wrong. Let's go to this other thing that really bothers me and it just roils me. What is it? Alarming. This is what's on MSN. They say alarming. GOP quietly funnels millions into Democrat primaries to wipe out progressives. The American Israel Public Affairs Committee, AIPAC, has spent more than $24 million to defeat progressive candidates in this year's Democratic primaries. And they list all the stuff that they've done. Well, it is alarming, but it's not surprising because it's exactly what the Democrats are doing. But again, I say that two rights don't make a wrong. Wait, two wrongs don't make a right. Sorry. I apologize. Two wrongs don't make a right. Two lefts don't make a right, and two rights, according to political sides, not in the sense of correct moral sides, does not equal right. And so there is this political warfare that's taking place where we're deciding, and thanks for joining, Carolyn. We're deciding that we want to play these games. We want to play these games with the people in the politics because we want to scratch out the moderates because we believe that if the moderates run, our candidates will lose and we will not maintain power. We will not maintain control. So Democrats are basically supporting the wacko far right people, and the Republicans are supporting the wacko far left extremists to get rid of the moderates because the moderates, most of them are of common sense. So we don't want that. Instead, we're going to do everything we can to screw up the election process, screw up any form of election integrity. Why in the world would anyone want to run with the stupid games that are being played right now by both sides of the aisle? Why? Why would they do that? You're spending the millions and millions of dollars that you're getting from your supporters, and this is what you do with it? This is what you do with this? Please. And honestly, to tell you the truth, we should figure out a way to strip out the money from the political ads, from the political support, from the political campaigns, so that you can actually run on this, but there should be a clause in it that prevents you from spending money for the opposite side. Assign your political affiliation and just let the chips fall where they may. But these games, but you play by the sword. You play by the sword. You're going to die by the sword. Is this completely childish? But see, as people, because again, Republicans, Democrats, independents, all trying to play their part of being these morally pure individuals, and every last one of them, the curtain's being rolled back. Don't pay attention to the person behind the curtain. The emperor has no clothes. Every aspect of things are falling apart. I even came upon a video last night. They're talking about some turmoil that's happening in China right now, where their banks are falling, their real estate markets are crashing because of the Ponzi schemes that was going on out there. Well, I believe that the Ponzi schemes, the political Ponzi schemes, are being exposed in this country about what people have been doing, and this is completely, we're being exposed. We've been blurred. Our minds and our visions have been blurred by this MAGA message. I'm all for America being great, but America has to be humble first. And it can't be humble if we're playing these games on both sides of the aisle where we're manipulating the systems and we are not allowing for real people of substance to be in office. Yes. Lep. And yes, another word of wisdom. Republicans and Democrats are just different cheeks of the same derriere. Brandon says, when you have zero going for you, you'll have to try everything and hopefully catch something. It's like fishing with just a hook and no lure. You might get something, but it's not going to be much worth. Ain't that the truth? And see, because of the fact that we have not been fishing with the right lure, because of the fact that we have not been putting the right things in place to make certain that we bring people of substance and character into the political environment, Lord help us. Carolyn, she's pretty funny. Yeah. Carolyn says the following. I have to take a break here because I'm just trying to maintain my calm. Cool. Just maintain my calm in this. He says, oh, the games people play now. Every night and every day now. Now sing along now. Yeah. And this is the games that they play with us. What is it? What's the name of the person who plays the fiddle and everyone follows him? But the name will come to me later. And I think that that's what we're seeing in the piper. The piper is going through, and we have the political pipers that are bringing us along and sending us right over over a cliff because of the fact that we don't want to pay attention and realize and say, finally, enough is enough. We want nothing to do with this. Charlie Daniels, the Pied Piper. Lord help us. But these are the games that you're playing. But here's one on people thinking that this stuff won't come up to you. Now, this one here, Representative John Tilley, a Democrat from Hopkinsville, Kentucky. And this story is crazy because of the fact that, again, this is people who think that they can get away with murder and it's not going to catch up to them. Yeah, here it is. Kentucky's former secretary who worked to clear backlog of rape kits during his time in office is charged with raping women who was too drunk to raping a woman who was too drunk to give consent in a Lexington hotel. This is basically, he's arrested and charged with first-degree rape. 53. He was booked Monday until the Lexington Fayette Urban County Jail. Tolly's accused of having sex at a Lexington hotel with a woman who was unable to give consent because she was too drunk to do so. Now here's the killer on this one here, because a few years back, I don't even think it was that far. I have to see what the date is, but there's another article I found from WLKY.com. Basically, domestic violence advocates raised their voices with legislative leaders on Tuesday, Frankfurt, to champion House Bill 8, which would give an immediate protection to dating violence victims. The bill, sponsored by none other than Representative John Tilley of Hopkinsville, provides a unified and streamlined system of protections in Kentucky for domestic violence and sexual assault, stalking, with the addition of dating violence. Kentucky may be the last state to expand the dating violence protections, where 1 in 3 women, according to a recent study on college campuses, will get abused. I don't like those odds, and as a father of 3 girls, I don't like those odds, said Tilley. In Kentucky, after a conviction, and only after conviction, can you get a protection order to protect yourself from your abuser. See, so the one who is posing to be the protector is one we need to be protected from. And I would dare say that the people who are saying that we're protecting the rights of every American citizen and we want everybody to be equally free and everything like that, the very same people, the very same political party is using law enforcement, using investigative agencies as political policing parties or avenues to basically you bring down the Fifth Reich in America. And this should be alarming you. Because again, I know that a lot of you right now, you probably woke up and you had yourself a mimosa, dropped some vodka, and dropped some vodka into an orange juice, was that a screwdriver? Yeah, the mimosa was a little bit more. Yeah, you did your screwdriver, you had your mimosa, You had all your kinds of different drinks as you popped the champagne. You basically broke out whatever beers or drinks or whatever it was that you celebrated the idea that Donald Trump was raided yesterday. Not understanding that you're supporting the idea of tyranny. Because if they will do it to this president, our former president, again, there's a lot I don't agree with Trump on, but this is completely wrong. This is way out of control. This is way out of line. But I'm telling you, we're being exposed for what's going on here. And you know what? And this goes to show you that the people who say that they're here protecting you are the people who are violating the very principles, violating the Constitution, violating so much more. And I dare say that the reason we're empowering every last one of them to do it because we've stuck ourselves into this idea that we have to have a bombastic, fiery person who's going to represent us. I had a very good conversation with a coworker yesterday that we were just sharing different ideas, opinions, and we found that there's a lot they were similar on. We talked about, he was thinking about Ben Carson as his presidential candidate in 2016, and I was like, dude, I dropped the ball on that one because I wanted a little bit more for Firebrand, not far as Trump, but I was looking at Cruz. But I think most of us would have been better looking at Carson in 2016 because he was by far the most intelligent person that was on the stage. No, he's not a super loud fighting individual, but he actually has the mental capacity to bring people in, negotiate, and have a decent conversation in leading us. I think the one thing that I allowed to bias me against that was the idea of I just didn't want Ben Carson to be seen as the better black guy. And it's just insane. Carolyn is basically saying equalization will never happen. It's impossible to do so. Agreed. And I think what you're covering here is that there's this illusion, this utopia that we're trying to create in America. We're trying to create this utopia of making everybody's life completely easier, and it will never happen as long as you have people in office, in pews, in political power, and in every aspect, because at the heart of every individual is sin. It's a sin nature that's discontent, unhappy, ungrateful, dissatisfied, and willing to break any moral barriers, whatever, for personal pleasure. For personal pleasure and satisfaction. And until we rid society of that, this is the very same corruptions that we will see at every level of government and society. But this should be alarming because I know there are a lot of people who are celebrating right now. Pardon my interruption, but I believe there's a lot of people who are suffering enduring or encouraging a lot of political orgasms right now because of the fact that they're happy what took place in Mar-a-Lago last night. And I dare say, if you're foolish enough to endeavor on believing or even following or subscribing to that mentality where you're taking joy, what is it? The Word of God says, "Do not rejoice over evil." The Word of God basically says do not sit there and celebrate when harm befalls another individual, because what happens is you reap what you sow. Iron fist economics. You rule with the iron fist. You want more compassion, but you rule with the iron fist. You bring in wokeness that chokes white American males, that condemn white American males as some kind of cancer on society, and we must rid society of the patriarchy and especially those of the negrily challenged persuasion. If you're white, you're Christian, you're conservative, don't leave. And heterosexual, we don't need you. We don't need you continuing to make the population grow, because you can't do it without white, Christian, heterosexual, conservative people as well. I'm not supporting a white nationalism. I'm supporting the everybodyism, because God created us all equally. White, black, yellow, black, red, yellow, black, and white, world precious in his sight. It's time that those people who have been yelling and chanting that garbage start believing and living it. Because you can't sit here and promote a level of superiority or looking at other focus groups and ignoring another, because that defeats the purpose of your inclusive message. Your message of inclusivity has been nothing but an iron fist economic that's destroying the world. I'm gonna go to a break. I need a break. John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish but have eternal life. Romans 10:14 through 17. How then will they call on him who they have not believed? And how are they to believe in him of whom they have never heard? And how are they to hear without someone preaching? And how are they to preach unless they are sent? As it is written, how beautiful are the feet of those who preach the good news. But they have not all obeyed the gospel. For Isaiah says, Lord, who has believed what he has heard from us? So faith comes from hearing, and hearing through the word of Christ. 2 Corinthians 5:17. Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old is passed away. Behold, the new has come. I share these passages with you because of the fact that we know John 3:16. We probably barely hear Romans 10:14 through 17. And most doubtedly, we never hear 2 Corinthians 5:17. Life as a believer in Christ requires change. To make a decision for Christ, we recognize that there is something wrong in our lives and we need to do different. We need to be better, but we can't be better on our own strength. So we hear the gospel message, moved by the Spirit of God, and we respond. I ask you now, if you've heard the message, please respond and live for his glory. Triggering change, one heartbeat at a time. Battle for freedom. Welcome, everyone. I'm your host, Watson Prenate from Battle for Freedom on Mojo 5 Radio. We're talking about Iron Fist economics, the hammer meets sickle, and some crazy stuff's happening. Some crazy stuff's gonna if I wouldn't have to worry about being censored or blurred or blurped or whatever it is that social media does, I would want to be playing DMX's song right now. Y'all gonna make me lose my mind up in here, because the fact that there's some straight crazy stuff going on here, some straight crazy stuff happening on here. I love this. Left was sitting here talking about the left continually decries fascism, yet they are the first to perpetuate or perpetrate the set offenses. Agreed, 100%. 100%. But I'm going to tell you, there's a reason for this. Let's actually move on to the next one so that you can actually see how much they do this. Because of the fact that here is, so the $740 billion package was passed the other day. Here it is. You have Manchin. He made some money on this thing here. Check this out. So half of the Democrats' $740 billion spending bill will fund, quote unquote, transition to green energy, with $60 billion for environmental justice, but giving Joe Manchin a gas pipeline to secure his vote. What? Senator Joe Manchin's stamp of approval was not without concession for climate advocates. The moderate struck an agreement with Schumer, who agreed to take up pipeline permitting reform legislation before the end of the year. The bill also mandated some federal offshore and onshore gas leasing. Here's my problem that I have with this, and thank you, Aaron. I keep forgetting to say it. Thank you, Aaron Barker, for sharing, and every last one of you who shares this broadcast. Aaron Barker from The Breakdown. You can catch him on the weekends, and he has his buddy Brian Jackson join him. I think it's Brian Jackson. I believe so. Again, you'll enjoy it. There's some great talent. There's some great people that you enjoy. If you go to mojo50.com /schedule or schedule, however you pronounce it. Look into that and see the different shows that are available to you that you can catch. Wide variety of great content. You can't go wrong. But yes, Tim, this is by far, Tim, you're so correct on this about saying that this is where is it? Straight communist stuff right out of the playbook, right out of the communist playbook. You're right. And unfortunately, as we sit here and we watch this stuff happen and take place, you have to understand that there's a reason for this, and I'm going to explain why. Because there's a reaction to what they're trying to get with the corruption, with everything that's going on. They're destabilizing society for the purpose of letting us all live in fear. To have us all live in fear. If you don't believe me, and this is one where, again, I mentioned this, I think it was on Aaron Barker's show a couple weeks ago, about how I believe that Dave Chappelle is like the Michael Jordan of comedy right now. There's no one who is, there's no one who kills it like Dave. No pun intended. But here it is. Chappelle attacker 23 appears in a pretrial hearing where attorney reveals he will seek mental health diversion that could see his battery case dismissed. His attorney, Chelsea Badia, told the court she will file a motion for mental health diversion, which could allow Lee to undergo treatment in lieu of jail time. This is, they said that the prosecutor says we will probably object to the motion when it's heard. This is the guy who stormed the stage and tried to attack Dave Chappelle while holding a knife. And you've seen exactly what has taken place with this. And I'm going to leave a comment to, I don't have that feature. I'm going to have to email it to myself. Yeah, I'll figure this out. This is a problem. We've seen in New York, we've seen in LA, we've seen in Chicago, we've seen in Indianapolis, we've seen all over the country where they're not prosecuting people. Again, great discussion I had with my coworker yesterday is, how can you bring in, and he said, how can you bring in, he's like, I will entertain your new laws for gun restrictions when you actually enforce the existing ones that are in place. How can we expect any kind of protection from the criminals on the street if you don't keep them locked up and you don't keep them off the street? See, because here's now a person who, now they're saying that he has a mentally ill issue. Be not surprised if this individual ends up hurting someone else again because of the fact that they're in their treatment processes rather than being behind bars. And be not surprised if the same said individual does not come back after Dave Chappelle with a restraining order. I am certain there will be a restraining order. You cannot come within 1,000, 10,000 feet of Dave Chappelle, and he will be 500 feet from Dave Chappelle in the coming days, months, and years. Yeah, Carrie, I think you're going to be right on that one with what she's saying here. I think you just might be right on that one here. Carrie is basically saying they all do the crime but claim they have no non-mental capacity when it comes to getting out of jail time. Aren't most criminals crazy? I think you got a point there. Give that woman a prize. Oh, Tim says he is in mind control treatment. You know what? I'm going to have to agree with you on that one too. I think we... right on the nose. Right on the nose on that one. This is troublesome. Well, let's actually get further into this because I think this broils us up to the tragedy that took place yesterday evening. And this is not cool at all. So there was a news report about, here it is, Trump's real estate appraiser has handed over nearly 36,000 documents to the New York Attorney General's office, after being held in contempt for refusing to cooperate in a civil probe into his tax dealings. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. Again, I'll say it over and over and over again. There's a lot that I don't agree with Trump on. But this blatant attack against him, do I want him to run for office again? No, I do not want him to run for office. But this is not how you do it. This is utterly not how you do it, because I saw an article out there is like, if Trump is convicted, he will never be able to run for office again. Ding, 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 ding. They're going after this as bombastic and as rude, as out of control that he is. This is not the way that you keep it. This is the Gestapo. This is the very stuff that many of you crowed that Trump would be doing. Let's see. Let's see if I could bring this up in a closer thing, because my vision isn't always as great as I want to see this. But I'm going to go and look at this definition here and go from there. As Nazi Germany's, the key facts of the Gestapo. As Nazi Germany's political police force, the Gestapo was responsible for protecting the regime from its supposed racial and political enemies. This is point 2. The Gestapo used informants, surveillance, house searches, and brutal interrogation methods, including torture, to carry out its investigations. And 3. One of the Gestapo's main responsibilities was coordinating the deportation of Jews to ghettos, concentration camps, killing sites, and killing centers. See, we don't need to have them in centers. We just give them jabs now. We just give them jabs. And you know what? I got to go back to this thing for a second here. As we look at this idea of, as we're looking at this idea of that Trump is being held in a civil probe. Civil probe? No. It's an anal probe of the former president by butthurt people who are angry that he wrecked their plans. There are some aspects I believe that Donald Trump has wrecked some things, but I think that there's still more to come out about Donald Trump, folks, that we don't fully understand yet. And again, I think that 2 terms is probably too much. I think we should just go with 1 term per president, because we know every second term is a lame duck session, and they have everything. Well, you know what? But if you turn around and promise them to, but basically deny it every time, maybe you prevent the area of lame duckness that affects us when people have nothing to lose in a second term. They have 0 to lose in a second term. Right now, Joe Biden, he's going all out that he has nothing to lose in this administration, and he's going to break and violate every law that's out there. And 81 million people allegedly voted for him so that he can break the law. So those 81 million individuals, you will suffer the consequences of your actions by reaping what you sow. There's nothing that I can do. It's everything you experience, all the pains, the pain at the pump, the pain in your wallet, the pain in your refrigerator, the pain in your house, the pain in everything you experience right now has not been by anything that I've coordinated myself, but everything that you've done yourself in your iron fist process, where you sit there and you broke the law and you put someone into the office illegally. You participated in this, and many of you are black, white, but supposedly call yourself Christians, call yourself woke, and you broke the law. And if you are willing to break the law, don't be surprised if the people that you would put in power will break the law and break you, because they manipulated you well enough into this. It's interesting. We're dealing with a situation right now where one of my kids is dealing with a bully. And I was at work yesterday, and I was talking to one of my coworkers about this, about the idea that the school wants to handle this situation in the sense that, one of my kids, one of my daughters, she would sit in a room alone with the bully and a counselor, and they worked the whole thing out. I said, no. I think that both parents should be present during the situation. I said, because I've been in enough secular and non-secular sessions where 2 parties are present and they're as biased by the third party that's supposed to sit there and actually be listening and unbiased. And when I said that to my coworker, his daughter is a junior in high school right now, and she started her junior year. But several years ago, she had the same exact situation that my daughter's experiencing. And they sat outside the office while waiting for his daughter to have a conversation with the other daughter and the counselor, and his daughter comes out busting out crying. Why? Because of the fact that the counselor didn't listen or let his daughter speak. And the bully, who was manipulated their way into the situation. And I've been in previous relationships where in the midst of counseling, the bully sits there and manipulates a pastor who I thought was partial or impartial. Come to find out, an adulterer, and was completely biased against men and always supported the women in the first place. So why in the world would I do that to my kids, that we put them in a situation? Listen, folks, if your kids go into public school or any situation and they're dealing with a bully situation, do not leave your child alone with a counselor and the bully. Demand that you be in that room. Because I try to get the school to say, listen, can you be a third party that sits there and watches that as both parents and children sit there and have a discussion that everything is written down and understood of how things are going to go? Like, we are not going to participate in that. So then if you can, find another third party who has nothing to gain by either side to sit there and watch as everything is taking place. Someone who has zero to gain, so that they can make certain that there are certain expectations that come from a resolution that's hoped to be brought upon. But right now, we're watching the same exact thing that's taking place in our government right now, where we're believing that there are arbiters of justice who are in office right now, who are supposed to make everything fair for everyone, and they're blinking out, they're blotting out people and not giving them a voice to speak. Wokeness is not fairness. Wokeness is trying to make things right in the worst way possible. Because the moment you talk about being inclusive and you basically are excluding Christian, white, conservative, heterosexual males who may support the Second Amendment, you're no longer inclusive. You're no longer inclusive whatsoever. But see, that mentality has seeped its way even beyond Christian, white, single, conservative males, heterosexual males, to even attack even gay men, gay women who have a conservative view. Conservative trans people, even they don't have a voice from the people who want to be inclusive. Did you watch Dave Chappelle's show where he sits there and talked about he had a trans friend who defended him, and what happened was the tolerant left, the people in power, the Gestapos, the very people who are organizing and moderating, fact checking social media sites, they go out and they attack the person who defended Dave Chappelle. Said he has an art, he is gifted in what he is doing. And what do? They verbally attacked and socially stalked to the point that the person committed suicide. A person from their own community. So why be surprised when the government doing it, when the fellowship, when the people are doing it? The people of the land are doing it. You and I should be alarmed. Don't sit here and celebrate on what's taking place, because you're nothing but part of the Gestapo. The people who are doing, you're the informants. You're the surveillance people doing the house searches, sneaking into people's homes. The brutal interrogation methods, torture. That's what you see with the protests, the looting, the rioting. The rioting and looting. Rooting. Yeah. Rooting for evil. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. But here it is. You have Trump being attacked here. Let's move on to this next one here. You have to understand what's going on here. This is really troubling. Trump is asked, why can't Trump has asked, why can't my generals be more like Nazis and be absolutely loyal? In a new book that reveals Mark Miley drafted a resignation letter saying ex-president was doing great and irreparable harm to the U.S. During the riots of June 2020, Miley, an Army general, came under fire for marching with Trump in uniforms toward St. John's Church. He peeled off from the crew as he realized the impropriety of his own presence. 1 week later, he drafted a resignation letter that he never sent. It is my belief that you are doing a great and irreparable harm to my country, he wrote to Trump in a letter. You are using the military to create fear in the minds of the people. See, do we even know if this letter's true? Seen a lot. Again, I've more than made my opinion about Trump known. But it's nonsense like this that happens that really utterly disgusts me because they are baseless or have the appearance of being completely baseless. And what gain do you have on this? A letter. If you truly were the man that you were, stand at the plate, write the letter, hand in your resignation and walk away. But the payment, right, was too great of a deal to walk away. If you were truly a person in your integrity, if you were truly a person of substance and character, you would have handed that letter of resignation and said, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. But you didn't. It's great to Monday quarterback when you squib the football on the 1 yard line, on a 1 inch line. You didn't cross the plane. There is no 6 points. There isn't even an attempt for a field goal kick. You can't even punt. You've been sacked in your lack of character and substance. Again, I have my issues with Trump, but this is utter garbage. He was a danger to the country. No, you're a danger to the country. And many of your friends who are warmongers, who want to keep up the term I haven't said in a long time, the military-industrial complex. Yes, Brandon is so correct on this one here. He wants a book deal to catch some people who are all in arms over Trump, most doubtedly. So the people are going to come out of the woodworks who have zero substance and zero character, which finally leads us to probably one of the greatest tragedies that took place yesterday. And that's Fry or Frau or not Fry or Frau, but Führer Biden initiating. Donald Trump is spotted leaving Trump Tower just hours after Mar-a-Lago was raided by a team of FBI agents. Agency didn't give Biden any heads up, and senior White House officials learned of the search via Twitter. No, see, this is the nonsense that they said during the Obama administration. He didn't know what was going on. Didn't know that they were going to do this. No. You can't raid without the president's approval, which brings us back to, again, see, folks, what you're doing right now is hurting you more than you ever think. You are going to, on this malicious attack to take out Donald Trump. Again, I don't want him running again, but you're giving him all the ammo to run again. You are making him the biggest victim. While I believe that there's he's reaping a lot of what he has sown, what's going on right now of what you're doing here is you're angering the base. So then when you open up Daily Mail and the very top thing that you see on the page is horde of angry Trump supporters descend upon Mar-a-Lagos in the hours following the shock FBI raid of ex-president's Florida club, MAGA crowd questions agency's motives and blasts double standard in reporting on Hunter Biden and Nancy Pelosi. Most definitely. See, now, and here is the reason why many of you sat here and you said, you said that Trump is a terrorist. You said Trump is a tyrant. In the last 12 months, we have seen and witnessed more tyrannical things happening under this current administration than we've seen since day one. When people call this a banana republic, when people call this straight up communism, there is no other definition for this. This is straight up fascism. This is straight up communism. This is straight up totalitarianism. Big brother, not just watching, big brother raping. Big brother raping of what's happening on right now. And the Fuhrer is furious. And he's taking out as many people as he possibly can. But I saw something yesterday, and here's the reason why I want some straight caution. Because a lot of people have been immobilized because of what's taken place, and I believe that was the target. More than anything else in trying to take Trump out, what they were looking for were the people who would come to his aid. Trust me, the extra IRS agents hired because of this bill, the extra FBI agents sitting there taking down license plates, taking pictures of all the people who are out there. But I saw this meme earlier today. Shows a picture of a girl. It's just a straight up cartoon graphic, pretty much just edges. Looks like something out of the 50s, honestly, to tell you the truth. But it's a little girl who is tying her dad's tie as he's leaning over to help her. And she says, "Daddy, what were you doing when the government took all my freedoms away?" And the father responds, "Sorry, honey. I wore a muzzle, hid behind the sofa, and called anybody who spoke out against it a conspiracy theorist." See, the purpose of this whole thing of ruling with an iron fist, the purpose is to drag out or rip out the people, who were in office, or not actually the warriors, the fighters. I would even dare say too, in the last couple of years, that while we saw an obliteration of our rights on whether or not to take the jab, while I believe that there's a lot of population control efforts being endeavored on that, I think the other side of it that was taking place was the reactionary study of what's going to take place. Who refused to get the jab? We took your employment away. We took your livelihood away. We took everything away from you. We took your social media presence away because we want to silence you. And as we build this list, we build this docket of people that we target on the next wave of what's going on. Now we've isolated the areas where the resistors are still there, where the resistance still exists. So we'll do whatever we can to take them out. I mean, the only other thing that's stuck in the back of my head with respect to this thing and what they were doing with this raid, what did Trump have? See, I think that they used the mask of this. I think they used the mask as of the Secret Service files, or the top secret files that Trump allegedly, who allegedly took that from the office. I think they use that as a mask to justify what they're doing. But Lep said it perfect. It's a compliance experiment. Yes. Yes, it's a compliance experiment. And see, in the midst of this is why you got to listen to Lep and Ain't You a Peach with Jamie Christopher. As we sit here and we watch this thing unfold, I know many of you are roiled and you are rightfully angry. But use wisdom in what you do. Use wisdom in what you say. Because anything you say or do will be used against you in a court of law, even if it's a kangaroo court like the January 6th Commission. So use wisdom here. Don't fly off the handle and feel that you got to go off and do all this craziness and you're angry and you don't like what's taking place. Yeah. Yeah, Jamie's so correct on this one here. Hold on a second here. Jamie says, trust me, Biden is next. He's going to be replaced. He was not the final plan. Most definitely. Most definitely. And here's here I'm gonna take that farther, whatever, beyond. And Kamala won't replace him. See, a lot of people were like, oh, I don't like Biden. I just don't like Trump, but at least we may see a first black woman. I dare say they're going to skip over her too, or her stint will be very brief. You guys compromised your value because you thought that the Biden-Harris ticket was your best ticket to seeing history being made again. And I dare say that you will see history repeat itself as tyranny is underway. I'm your host, Watson Prunier from Battle4Freedom and Mojo 5 Radio, folks. Brad Staggs and Daily Mojo's up next, and I'm out. Vive la France!